Have you ever shown up to a party and felt like everyone there knew something you didn't? Like you were the only one who missed the dress code, or worse, the secret purpose behind the whole thing. Welcome to my viewers. Tonight's story starts with a seemingly normal college party. But trust me, by the end you'll be questioning every invite you've ever accepted. I wasn't the most social guy in college. My grades weren't great. I wasn't in a frat. I didn't have a girlfriend. And I mostly stayed out of anything remotely organized. It wasn't that I was miserable. I just kind of existed. Things are better now. I've got a loyal partner, 2 cats named Blue and Raz, and I'm planning to propose soon. But back then, my college experience wasn't anything to brag about. I had 2 close friends, Bryson and Ian. And like me, they weren't part of the frat scene either, but that didn't mean we didn't want to have fun. Most weekends we'd hang out in Bryson's dorm room, doing nothing, but if there was ever a chance to go to a party, any party, we jumped at it. Most of the parties we found were off campus, not tied to any frat or dorm. One time we even drove over an hour just to get to one. So when Ian texted us on a Friday saying a girl he'd been talking to knew about a local party, we were all in. Ian always talked to the strangest girls. Bryson joked that we were probably heading to a death metal anime party, which wasn't out of the question, but Ian insisted it was going to be normal. Bryson got his older brother Chris to be our designated driver. He didn't drink anyway, so it worked out. On the way there, Ian started venting. The girl he'd been talking to, Callista, hadn't texted him in hours. Classic Ian drama. He started doubting whether we should even go, but we were already halfway there. We weren't about to turn back. Then he said Callista's profile had vanished, blocked. She'd probably found someone else to go with. Ian sulked the rest of the drive. When we pulled up, we were stunned. The house was massive compared to the others on the street. Ian wanted to hang back and pre-game before going in, so we parked down the street, cracked open some beers, and watched people stream inside. It looked legit. When Ian finally felt buzzed enough, we walked in. Right away, something felt off. The house was lit up with harsh overhead lighting. No dim ambiance, no string lights. Just plain white light, like someone forgot it was supposed to be a party, and everyone was well dressed. Like cocktail attire dress. We didn't look awful, but we definitely stood out. The music was even stranger. Some ethereal instrumental stuff with no lyrics. Not exactly party vibes. We wandered, grabbed some drinks, and tried to make the most of it. Chris wasn't into it, and decided to chill in his car. A few minutes later, 3 girls came up to us like out of nowhere. That never happened to us. They joked about an entrance fee, and held out a bottle of tequila. We weren't gonna say no. We each took a swig. After that, we stuck with the girls, talking, drinking, even dancing a little. It was shaping up to be a good night. That's when I noticed something strange. Tina, the girl I was talking to, had a green line on her neck. It looked like a line drawn with a Sharpie, thin and precise. At first I thought it was makeup or a birthmark, but something about it felt off still. I didn't want to kill the mood, so I let it go. Soon Bryson and his girl drifted upstairs. Ian and his girl followed not long after. I stayed downstairs with Tina, but started feeling really anxious. I told her I was going to the bathroom, and stepped away. The only available bathroom was occupied, so I waited in the hall. When the door finally opened, a tall guy in a white button-down stepped out and bumped into me. I turned, expecting an apology, but he just stared at me, and there it was. That same green line on his neck, identical to Tina. I asked him what his problem was. He smirked and said, "Who invited you?" I blurted out, "Callista," and his smile faded. "Do you see Callista here?" he asked. I didn't know what to say, so I shut the door. Something about the exchange really got to me. I came out looking for that guy again, scanning people's necks. To my horror, I found more of those green lines. Same color, same placement. Not everyone had them, but enough did that it started to freak me out. I wanted to find my friends, and get out of. As I was heading upstairs, I ran into Bryson and Ian. I pulled them aside and told them we had to leave. I explained the marks, but they laughed it off. Bryson said I was just jealous because they'd hooked up. When I asked where the girls went, they both said the same thing. Meet back upstairs in 20 minutes. Weird. That's when I saw it. Ian turned his head, and on his neck, a red line. Same size, same shape, just red, instead of green. I panicked, and checked Bryson. Same red mark. I told them again we had to go. Bryson finally started listening. Ian didn't want to leave. Then a man with a green line passed us slowly, eyeing us. That was all we needed. Bryson and I bolted for the door, dragging Ian behind us. Everyone stared as we left, but no one stopped us. We ran to Chris's car and told him to drive. Now, as we pulled away, Ian and Bryson's phones blew up with messages from the girls asking why we'd left, but they hadn't been around to see us go. How did they know? They blocked the number. Everyone has their own theory about what was going on at that party. I try not to think too hard about it, but sometimes I wonder, what if I hadn't gone to the bathroom when I did? I'm a graduate student studying civil engineering at Purdue University. I actually just started a few months ago. All things considered, I was in a decent place. Classes were going smoothly. I'd made a few friends, and my apartment, while not the nicest, was affordable. The landlord gave off sketchy vibes. Sure, but nothing I couldn't deal with. I had a car, which was necessary, because I lived pretty far from campus in a not-so-great part of town. Still, I didn't mind the commute. I liked the solitude of driving. I'm a guy in my mid-20s. I can handle myself, or at least that's what I thought. Things were a bit dull, but I was there for a degree, not a social life. Everything felt manageable, until the day my backpack disappeared. It happened on campus. I was in a quiet lecture hall, not even in class, just using a table to catch up on emails. I stepped away to use the bathroom, and stupidly left my stuff behind. When I came back, the bag was gone, vanished. That building didn't have security cameras, and no one had seen anything. I was mostly annoyed at first. My laptop, wallet, and apartment keys were inside. I spent the next 2 days canceling cards, ordering a new student ID, and trying to figure out what to do about my keys. It was a hassle, but I chalked it up to bad luck. Then things got a lot worse. 3 days later, I got home from campus and noticed something unusual. A folded note slipped under my door. No envelope, just a plain sheet of paper. At first, I thought it was from my landlord, a reminder about rent or repairs, but when I unfolded it, my heart dropped. It said, "I see you." That was it. No name, no contact info, just those 3 words in rough, shaky handwriting. That's when it hit me. Whoever stole my backpack had gone through my laptop and found out where I lived. And even worse, they had my apartment keys. Suddenly, everything felt wrong. The air in my apartment seemed heavy, like I was being watched. I bolted the door with the deadlock and spent the rest of the night double-checking every window and closet. Over the next several days, more notes arrived. Short, creepy messages, like "I know what you did," or "Watch yourself." I didn't understand it. I hadn't done anything, but clearly, someone had been inside my personal life. I debated going to the police, but what would I say? That someone was leaving me vague threats, that they might have broken into my place using a stolen key. I didn't think they'd take me seriously. And then came the flash. I was getting ready for bed. The lights were off, and I was brushing my teeth. My window blinds were half open when I caught it. A split-second burst of light, like someone took a photo from outside. I rushed to the window and yanked the blinds shut. Heart hammering. I didn't see anyone, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. That was when the smaller signs started adding up. My shoes were moved. My coat ended up in a different spot. Once, my phone charger was plugged into a different outlet. Then I remembered. I told myself I was imagining things. Stress, maybe. But then I came home one evening and found my bedroom in chaos. The sheets were stripped. My dresser drawers were wide open. Books tossed on the floor. It looked like someone had ransacked the place, but nothing was stolen. I called the police. They came, looked around, and left within 20 minutes. Since there was no forced entry and no missing items, they said there wasn't much they could do. I demanded the landlords change the locks. He told me it'd take a few days. I begged him to make it sooner. He didn't seem to care, told me to just keep the deadbolt locked, and brushed me off. He hasn't answered my calls since. That was yesterday. I barely slept last night. I keep thinking about what they could have seen in my apartment, what they might have read on my laptop. I'm scared to leave. I've skipped all my classes today. The blinds are closed. Every light is off, except my desk lamp. I'm sitting in front of the door with a kitchen knife in my lap. If they read my emails, they know my schedule. They know when I'm supposed to be gone. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay hidden. I'll keep watch from the hall closet near the front door. I'll leave everything as it is and pretend to be gone. If they come in again, this time I'll be waiting. I don't know what I'll do, but I have to do something. I'll update you when I can. Tonight's story is a deeply personal one, and if you've ever experienced a breakup or had someone invade your privacy, this might hit close to home. What started as a normal end to a messy relationship turned into one of the most terrifying, vulnerable experiences of my life, and it still isn't over. I've been dealing with something I can't stay quiet about anymore. I had just broken up with my boyfriend of 2 years, Ben. The breakup wasn't explosive, but it was long overdue. We'd been arguing for months, constantly on edge, and when we finally ended it, I felt relief more than sadness. I blocked him on everything and assumed that would be the end of it. I live near Temple University in this small second-floor apartment not far from campus. It's an old building, the kind where you hear everything through the thin walls and the old windows. But a few days after the breakup, I started hearing noises that weren't just the typical Philly nightlife. Footsteps, soft shuffling, pauses beneath my window like someone standing there watching. At first I wrote it off. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe it was Ben. He was sweet, awkward even, and I couldn't picture him doing anything dangerous. I figured he was just having a hard time letting go. I didn't confront it. I thought if I ignored it, it would stop. Around that time, I was working on a huge group project. One of those make or break assignments. I was in charge of editing the final video and sending it to our professor. I stayed up all night, made sure every frame was perfect, and emailed it just before midnight. The next day in class, we were supposed to present. The professor plugged in his laptop and opened the file I'd sent. I was proud, honestly. I knew it was good work, but when the video started playing, my heart plummeted. It wasn't our project. Instead, it was a grainy, low-res video of someone in a scream mask. They were sitting in front of the camera, ranting in this eerie, monotone voice, saying the most vile, disturbing things about me and my professor. Even the government. It was sick. Everyone went dead silent. The professor froze. So did I. When he finally stopped the video, his face was pale. I could feel 100 eyes drilling into me, every breath tightening in my chest. I broke down, sobbing, and ran from the room. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was drowning in shame. After class, I begged the professor to hear me out. He checked the email and saw that 2 files had been sent. The first was the correct one. The second, the horrifying one, was sent afterward from my email. I had been hacked. That kicked off weeks of stress. I changed my password. I thought it was over, but it wasn't. Not even a week later, I was logged out of Snapchat. That only happens when someone else logs in. I was hacked again, and I knew whoever it was had access to stuff I never wanted anyone else to see. The police got involved. Ben agreed to talk to them, and confessed that after the breakup, he had posted some of my personal info on a sketchy forum. He swore he didn't leak passwords, but mine were embarrassingly easy, and the same for every site. It was enough for someone to break in. Still, the police said Ben wasn't behind the hack. That meant it was someone else. Some stranger had access to my life. For a while things went quiet. I thought maybe they had backed off. Maybe getting the police involved scared them. Then I got a Snapchat request from an unknown user. I didn't think much of it at first. I get those sometimes. But I made the mistake of accepting immediately. They started sending pictures of me, personal, private pictures. I blocked them instantly, crying in pure panic. I'd never felt so violated. And it didn't stop. Every day, new accounts, new requests. I didn't open them. I couldn't. I knew it was the same person, playing games, and I was terrified of what would happen if I opened another message. They know where I live. I'm almost certain it was them outside my window those nights, watching, waiting. I've done everything I can. New passwords, VPNs, privacy settings maxed out, but there's no way to track them. The police told me unless they make a direct threat, or try to meet in person, there's nothing they can do. So now, I wait. I live in fear, constantly glancing out the window. I don't know what they want, or what they're capable of, and the scariest part is, they could be anyone. A random person on campus, someone who passed me in the coffee shop, someone sitting behind me in class. To any of you watching, especially young women, please take your digital safety seriously. Don't use the same password for everything. Be careful with your photos and don't assume a breakup means it's over, because sometimes it's just the beginning. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please leave a comment below whether it's advice, support, or if you've gone through something similar. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.